as a virtual assistant, most of the time you are always working from your home or whatever you've kind of dedicated as your office. But for me, occasionally, I will travel to work on site with clients. In today's video, we are going to talk about exactly what that looks like for me and how you can implement it into your business if you choose to do so. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Lisa Baldwin and I drop a new video every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time to help you launch or grow your very own virtual assistant business. So if this is the first time joining me, or if you've joined me many times before and haven't done so yet, please subscribe and ring the bell so you are notified every week when I drop a new video. This video is kind of in response to the A Day in the Life of a Virtual Assistant video that I did a while back. It's one of my most watched videos. And so what I wanted to do was talk about the occasional travel that I do for my business. So this video I am not recording at home. I am actually in a hotel room right now. I'm doing an on-site, I call it like consultation. But basically what I do is I will actually come on site, meet with a client, because sometimes there are things that it's easier for me to learn how to do being on site, actually being at their business and learning there. And then what I can do in most cases is take what I learn and then use that to actually do work for them remotely. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit what that looks like. I'm also gonna tell you about some mistakes that I made early on and how I corrected that. So if you also decide to do some traveling in your virtual assistant business, you can avoid those mistakes. So the first thing that I do is obviously I just like pack up my office. So what that looks like is I pack up my laptop, like charger. I have a little notebook that I make notes in. I have like a paper calendar, all of that, like my calculator, highlighters, pens, pencils, like everything that I use in my business from my home office. I basically pack that up and then I just travel to the remote location. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is how do I manage my other clients when I am on site with one client. And here's what I do. A couple of weeks in advance, I will notify all of my other clients and tell them that I am available on a limited basis. So when I go on site with a client, like most of my time while I'm there is devoted to that particular client. They are paying me to be there. And I'm gonna go into like the logistics of that a little bit later in the video, what that looks like. So I set up the expectation with my other clients to let them know that I'm still able to do minimal work for them during that time, but my availability is not what it typically is. And then what I do is I try to establish a schedule with the client that I'm on site with. So what time are we starting each day? What time are we ending each day? And then I will inform my other clients that if you need work for me, so let's say I'm on site with a client, we're starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll probably get up a little earlier than I normally do. And I will just inform my other clients, okay, if you have work that you need done for me, I need you to have it to me before 9 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, it's not going to be done until 3 o'clock when I'm finished with my other client. So I just set up that expectation right away, because otherwise they're going to be, maybe interrupting is the wrong word, because that's just what they're used to. That's the way that I've set up the boundary with them. But if they know I'm unavailable from, let's say, 9 to 3, all week long, then they know that I'm not doing any work for them during that time. So that's how I manage my other clients. So I do a little more work earlier in the morning, and sometimes I'll do a little more work later in the day than I typically do, but that's how I manage my other clients when I'm on site with a particular client. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, and this is where I messed up in the beginning, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. I highly, highly encourage you to have a travel contract. And if you sign up for my paid course, I will give you a copy of my travel contract. And at first, I didn't have one. And when I go on site with a client, this is what they are responsible for. They are responsible to pay for my hotel. They are responsible to pay for mileage if I drive, or my flight if I fly. If I fly, they are also responsible to pay for my baggage fees. If I have to take like a taxi or an Uber, anything like that, they are responsible to pay for that. And then also, when I'm on site with a client, they pay for all my meals. What should happen when you go on site for a client is it should not cost you any money to do that. Because when I come on site with a client, like, it's a bonus. It's not something that I advertise that I do. When I onboard a client, I don't ever say, okay, well, if you'd like me to come on site and do a consultation with you, we can do that. Like, I don't do that. But for some clients, they request that. And so it's a service that I provide, but it should not cost me any money. And that's where I made the mistake at first. I didn't set up the expectation with the client. Like, they didn't provide necessarily the accommodations that I wanted. And so I just made my own. And it cost me. You guys, I did an on-site consultation once. I lost money. It cost me more to do that on-site consultation than I made. But that's on me. I screwed that up. So that is why I put the travel contract in place. So I send that to the client ahead of time. They sign that so they know exactly what they're getting into. And here's the other thing, you guys. You shouldn't have to be reimbursed for most of those expenses. Like the hotel, I tell them, like, you are responsible to pay for it. It's not Lisa pays for it and then I submit a receipt. Like, anything that they can pay for in advance, they do. So things like mileage, for instance, like, I bill them after the fact for that. Meals, I bill them after the fact for that. But hotel, baggage fees, air travel, if you have that, that should all be paid ahead of time. And I highly, highly recommend you get those ahead of time. Because again, it's a service that you are providing, and in order for them to understand the seriousness of it, like, they need to have some investment in that. That's kind of what it looks like when I travel. It's not I say it's not a lot different, but I guess it kind of is. I have to manage my other clients differently during that time. And again, the travel contract, and I highly recommend the travel contract is a separate contract from the actual work contract that you have with them. Don't make it the same thing. That's really what it looks like. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If there's anything that I missed, because I always find when I do these videos, like when I'm editing it or when I'm done, it's mostly when I'm done, I'm like, why didn't I mention XYZ? If there's something that you think I forgot, or like if you traveled before and made a huge mistake and learned from it, please put it in the comments below. I love to read all of those. Otherwise, that's pretty much it that I have for this video, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.